Materialism, the causes, effects, and solutions.
What makes people immediately link the amount of expensive possessions with happiness? A person gets to choose between having 4 Hondas opposed to just 1 Honda. If they decide on the first choice, then their materialistic mind probably took over in suggesting that they would be better off having 4 cars instead of 1. Materialism, a problem most young people face, is a concept suggesting the ownership of many luxurious goods to be a sign of happiness. The issue caused by social media and society has led adolescents to social problems and depression, not satisfaction. To get to the state of well-being, people have to connect with others, be in meaningful relationships, and to have a great community. To have these things, people have to first realize that it is not the end of the world living without all their belongings. Believing that one is happier with many material possessions is not the answer to a better, selfish-free life. Social media is one of the major causes of materialistic mindsets among youth. Not just do the advertisements young people see every day affect them, but most importantly, photos on the web are the reason for materialism in young people. If someone is constantly exposed to images of luxury goods, they will have a higher chance of becoming materialistic. Based on a paper published by Psychology Science, they found out that people in a controlled group who are shown various expensive products and materials experience temporary anxiety and depression, which is a sign of materialism. There are millions of images online of celebrities posing with their designer stuff with a big smile on their face. Just looking at these pictures would make most people assume that the celebrity in the photo is happy having those possessions. And this would just further conclude that money equals happiness, even though it is not. The community people live in also starts to spread a materialism among a neighborhood. In a research paper written by Psychology Today, they discovered a link between neighborhoods' economic status and materialism. The paper demonstrated that neighborhoods can have a negative impact on those living in it. Say there is a young individual who has wealthy neighbors that spend loads of money. This will trigger a need to live up to that standard, and the person will end up using money they do not have to portray wealth they do not possess, even though it does not make them any happier. The chain of becoming wealthier by the amount of fancy objects you own will continue throughout the community, affecting everyone, including adolescents. If a person continues down this materialistic path, it will affect their inner and outer self in a terrible way. Materialism can affect a person in 2 different ways, socially and mentally. First of all, a social impact on one's life may result in broken relationships, family problems, and all things to do with other people. In July, a study was conducted to test the correlation between materialism and people's well-being. The article was published in the Journal of Motivation and Emotion, and it indicated that the more materialistic a person was, the lower their connection with loved ones were. However, if a person was not materialistic, their relationship with others would be successful and happy. In another investigation, psychologists followed Icelanders soon after the economic collapse of their country. While some still hoped and concentrated on materialism, another group of people put the thought of money aside and focused on their families and relationships. As expected, those who were devoted to their families reported higher marks of well-being than those who are still materialistic. These are some of the evidence that help prove materialism does really affect one's social life, but it does not stop here. Mental problems such as depression are associated with the term materialism. A group of experts in Western Australia examined young people aged 9 to 12 to find the connection between their happiness and future. 112 out of 400 Australian kids were proven to be likely depressed in the years ahead of them. Researchers stated that if one believed that happiness was related to money or fame, they would likely suffer depression. This just proves that materialism can start as young as 9. Anyone can access the internet with just a click. As talked before, photos that include money and happiness will make a person think that those 2 topics are connected, and that is materialism. Kids only have a certain amount of time left until they experience the stressful adult world. Depression will just add more weight onto their shoulders when they grow older, and that depression will turn into a deeper problem. From the information gathered from this experiment, about 25 out of 400 Aussie children are going to deal with depression just because of this materialism concept. Not just that, but something needs to be done to change the future of the next generation. Adolescents can also contribute to stopping materialism. A great way to overcome materialism at home is to try and be minimalistic for a few days and see how it feels. Put away all of the unnecessary junk and only keep the essentials. Trying this method out will make most people realize that it is not entirely necessary to have a lot of stuff or expensive possessions to be happy. On the other hand, an example of an okay idea to stop materialism is for teens to reduce the times that you go on the internet. This idea does work, but it might not be the best, considering that students need to access the internet on a daily basis. As said before, social media can turn people materialistic. So the tactic will be effective in not being able to see as much ads or materialistic pictures, but adolescents already use the web a lot, so it would not be as effective as the first solution. Materialism changes the way people think of happiness. It will change an individual who once thought happiness was about connecting with those they love, into believing that happiness is about money, fame, and wealth. Just because of social media and the society people live in, a person can instantly become depressed or suffer from social anxiety. Making a big change in the world is hard, but if everyone can just take part in stopping materialism by trying to be minimalistic, we as people can try to end materialism. Because no matter what, no one can buy happiness.